three North Idaho towns, all within 20 to 30 minutes of each other, all priced between median price, sales price, $530,000 and $575,000. Hayden, Post Falls, Rathdrum, they are not the same town. Rathdrum is the town that many retirees ask me about, but they know the least amount about. Today, I'm comparing all three across 7 criteria that actually matter for a retiree buyer. One town wins on healthcare, another wins on airport access, and a third wins on the variety of properties, plus a bonus at the end, the specific retiree persona Rathdrum is actually the right answer for. Hey, I'm a local real estate agent. I sell homes in all 3 of these towns every year. 2 videos ago, I compared Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, and Post Falls. This week, I'm swapping out Coeur d'Alene for the Rathdrum because Coeur d'Alene is fundamentally a completely different town. Rathdrum, Hayden, Post Falls are all 3 mid-range corridor towns that retirees actually deliberate between. Counting down from 7 to 1 plus the bonus. Let's get after it right now. Let's talk about number 7, weather and microclimate. The weather here between the towns actually is a little bit different. All 3 towns will get to real winter, snow, cold, gray, inversions. Hayden, slightly higher elevation, fewer inversion days, except the lake sometimes helps out with a few inversions, but clear skies in winter. Post Falls, the driest of the 3, less snow, feels more like Spokane weather. Rathdrum, similar elevation to Hayden, but Rathdrum actually sits in a snow belt. More snow than the other 2, more rural feel that amplifies the perceived winter. Winter for the retiree who hates gray, probably Hayden. Winter for the mildest overall winter is going to be Post Falls. I want 4 real seasons and I don't care about snow. That retiree, Rathdrum will always be a great fit. Rathdrum will feel more like winter than the other 2, not just because it snows more, but it typically does, but also that rural feel amplifies it. Something to know. Call me if you have or need to go into a little deeper dive on what weather looks like all year round in these different areas. Happy to walk you through it. Number 6, downtown and walkability. So we talked a lot about the walkability in Coeur d'Alene because that is a very walkable town, but the downtown character and walkability, let's say in Post Falls, downtown is being revitalized. You have the Falls Park and a few of those other parks. Beautiful, limited walkability though outside the parks. Hayden, Main Street is kind of spread out, more commercial corridor than a downtown Rathdrum. Rathdrum does have a small downtown Main Street area with some different shops and restaurants and whatnot. Charming in its own way, but scale is smaller than either Post Falls or Hayden. Fewer restaurants, fewer coffee shops, fewer services within walking distance. Winter on walkability is probably going to be that Post Falls. It's going to edge out the other 2 in that revitalized downtown area. And honestly, none of these 3 is a walkable town in the way that Coeur d'Alene is. Downtown character matters. Number 1, resale liquidity matters more if that decision to move happens in 5 years. Wait for it. Number 5, let's talk about home prices. In 2026, year-to-date, median sales price, Post Falls, $530,000. Hayden, $565,000. Rathdrum, $574,450. Rathdrum is actually the most expensive of the group. and just by a small margin, but that kind of surprised me. It surprises a lot of people. But we do have a lot of these bigger homes on acreage that are going into more of this North Rathdrum area. I think is driving up some of that. There's still alternative, less expensive homes to Hayden in a lot of these newer communities here in Rathdrum. Why is it more expensive? Like I was talking about, larger lots, new construction, custom homes. You also have more that's just kind of happening here in that Rathdrum area right now. So that does kind of help push that price up. The same size building lot in Hayden will be more expensive than in Rathdrum or Post Falls. Hayden land is still more expensive than the other twos, but here's what makes Rathdrum interesting. At a typical retiree budget, let's say $500,000 to $1.2 million, Rathdrum quietly has everything. In-town subdivisions of all different price ranges, from closer to that starter home or that mid-priced home up to the acreage subdivisions like Low Mountain Estates with, the 5-acre lots, Twin Lakes Village, golf community, and actual lakefront and waterfront homes on Twin Lakes. Hayden has many of these same amenities, but at a much higher sales price. Hayden has many exclusive neighborhoods where the price point of entry is well over $1 million. Post Falls has affordability, but Rathdrum has more affordable variety that neither of the other two match. Winner on price per home, Post Falls. Winner on price per acre, Rathdrum. Winner on variety of what you can buy, probably Rathdrum. If you want a larger lot, Rathdrum typically wins. If you want a golf community that isn't Avondale prices there in Hayden, Rathdrum wins. And if you want lakefront that isn't Coeur d'Alene or Hayden prices, Rathdrum wins there also. Most people don't know that. Let's talk about number 4, airport and the Spokane commute. Most people here flying somewhere or running into Spokane for medical or whatever it might be, and that airport and Spokane commute from Post Falls to Spokane International is about 25 to 30 minutes. Hayden to Spokane Airport, closer to that 45 to 50 minutes, and then Rathdrum is going to be in that 40 to 45 minutes. Rathdrum actually beats Hayden here. Rathdrum sits just west of Hayden and is geologically closer to Spokane. Plus, you have a couple ways in, either down 53 and cut over into Spokane, or cutting straight down 41 to I-90 and heading over. But the winner for the easiest access is obviously going to be that Post Falls, just because it's a little more convenient and closer. Airport is convenient. Number 3, healthcare is survival, and Rathdrum does have a bit of a gap there. If you made it this far, you're not just curious about Rathdrum, you're seriously considering it. So here's what's coming. Number 3, let's talk about healthcare access. Rathdrum has the longest drive of the 3 to a full-service hospital. Number 2, space, lot size, and the rural feel. This is where Rathdrum probably finally wins by a mile. And then number 1, resale liquidity. Criteria that determines whether picking Rathdrum is a good move at 65 or a mistake at 75. Plus the bonus persona at the end. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about healthcare access. Healthcare access in this area, this is where probably Rathdrum has its biggest gap. Our 2 biggest hospitals in the region is going to be Kootenai Health there in Coeur d'Alene, just off of I-90. That's the main hospital for the area. They do have some smaller dock in the box type things, but that's going to be the big one there. And then Northwest Specialty Hospital in Post Falls. Drive times to Kootenai Health from Hayden, probably 10, 15 minutes, unless you're over on the backside of the lake. Post Falls, 20, 25 minutes. Rathdrum, 25 to 40 minutes, depending on, what part of Rathdrum you're in. Drive times to Northwest Specialty Hospital. Post Falls, you're 5 to 10 minutes. Rathdrum, you're 15 to 20 minutes. It's pretty easy, straight down 41. And then Hayden, you're probably 20 to 25 minutes. And then in a January snowstorm, every one of those drives get a little longer, but winter for cardiac, oncology, or complex specialist care, Hayden, closest to Kootenai, plus the satellite surfaces. Winner for orthopedic and general surgery, probably Post Falls, that Northwest Specialty right there. The loser is Rathdrum. It's furthest from all of them, not by a lot, but if you have any serious health issues, maybe consider what drive time is acceptable to you. Call me if you're concerned with certain healthcare needs and wanting to get a better feel for what those drive times from certain areas might look like. And I'd be happy to walk you through those. All my contact information is in below. All right. Number 2, space, lot size, and the rural fill. Number 2, space, with that lot size and being more rural, this is where Rathdrum probably shines a little more than the others. Hayden has a lot of new subdivisions and a lot of those small to medium lots. If you get north of Lancaster and that north, Hayden, you do pick up some larger lot sizes, but I think Rathdrum has a lot more land that's available at a better price than what we're seeing in some of those other areas. Post Falls is a little denser, lots of brand new subdivisions popping up all over. There are a few areas where you do get some of the larger lots and some of the older areas like Riverside Harbor that some of those homes have a little bit larger lot, but not like the half acre to 5 acre consistency like we see in Rathdrum, where larger lots are the norm unless you're out on the prairie. Half acre, 1 acre, 5 acre parcels available. That rural fabric, trees, space between neighbors. You got that North Idaho feel and that North Rathdrum. You do get a lot of that in a lot of those areas in Hayden. But this is where Rathdrum's property variety really matters. In town, Rathdrum, a little bit walkable neighborhoods, mixed lot sizes, established fill, subdivisions with walking paths and parks. Then you got places like Low Mountain Estates with the 5 acre parcels, a little more rural, custom homes. It's for the retiree who wants land without going fully remote. And then we've got things like Twin Lakes Village, the golf community, very established out there. Comparable to Avondale, but at a much lower price point. And then Twin Lakes Waterfront, actual lakefront waterfront property on Twin Lakes, and that's for the retiree who wants maybe a waterfront without paying Coeur d'Alene or Hayden waterfront prices. For the retiree who wants privacy space to maybe garden or just have that privacy, room for grandkids, or just distance from their neighbor's fence, Rathdrum probably delivers on a bigger scale what neither Hayden nor Post Falls does. I have had a lot of people that have come and retirees that have loved a lot of these different areas in the Rathdrum area. Especially as you go a little further north and get into some of those larger lots and that privacy. Rathdrum really does help to deliver on that. And, I had a couple that came in from LA, both worked in medicine, sold their Beverly Hills townhouse, wanted the opposite of what they'd been living in for 30 years. They They bought a 5-acre parcel out here in Rathdrum, built their custom home, and they have told me the daily quiet was one of the single biggest quality of life improvements of their move. And so for some people, it's just that piece and that part of the quality of life. If space is what you're looking for, I think Rathdrum probably wins. Number one, and then the bonus persona. Number one, I want to talk about resale liquidity. The criteria that many retirees don't think about until they have to. And Rathdrum does have a bit of a gap between the three towns. And here it is. When we talk about that resale liquidity, the criteria nobody is thinking about until they need to sell is what's that time frame going to take? And in 2026 year-to-date median days on market, post falls was at the lowest, 53 days. Now maybe it just takes longer to build out some of those homes, or the lower price is attracting more. Hayden was 61 days, but Rathdrum was 87 days. That's 2026 year-to-date absorption rate, meaning months of inventory sitting relative to demand. Post-fall sits at about 2.5 months. Hayden, 2.8 months. And Rathdrum, 4.5 months, nearly double. That means Rathdrum has almost twice the inventory sitting relative to demand. That actually helps buyers have leverage, but sellers wait longer. So there's more inventory, haven't come down on prices, but sellers are waiting a little longer. For the retiree at 65, hey, this is great. You're not planning to sell. For that same retiree, maybe at 73, after a health event or maybe a spouse's death, waiting that extra 3-5 months to sell can sometimes cost tens of thousands of dollars in carrying costs alone. So when you pick a town in your 60s, pick the 15 years in mind, not always just the 5. In looking at what town works today, try to also understand what it's going to look like in year 7 and year 10. Now, these all change, and in 5 years, these numbers could look completely different. No crystal ball here, but for now, that's what the numbers are telling us. So the bonus, who is Rathdrum actually the right answer for? Well, I think it's the retiree who wants larger lots, at least a half acre higher. 1 acre or more is probably ideal. Wants a golf community without the high Hayden Coeur d'Alene prices, or wants waterfront without that Coeur d'Alene Hayden prices. Value space and privacy over amenities and walkability. Is generally healthy and has family members close by that who potentially help with a health event. Someone that's committed for the long term, that 15 to 20 years or whatever we have, and it doesn't foresee needing, though, to sell right away. Is comfortable driving for most services and social life, whether it's clubs, church, whatever that looks like, and wants the actual small town, North Idaho feel more than the Coeur d'Alene lakefront downtown feel. Rathdrum is a great town for the right buyer, which is a smaller pool than the marketing suggests. Okay, just wrapping up a few things before I get beat up in the comments. One, none of these 3 towns is a bad choice. They all work for the right retiree. This video is about which one fits your situation. 2, individual neighborhoods matter more than the town, and they all have great neighborhoods. Next week, I'm actually going to do the full Rathdrum neighborhood deep dive video. Little Mountain Estates, Twin Lakes Village, Twin Lakes Waterfront, in town Rathdrum. Subscribe, hit the bell, send us a like so that you don't miss any new information coming out or anytime we go live with the video. 3, like we always say, visit in the winter before you decide. Rathdrum's rule fill changes in the winter more than I think Hayden or Post Falls does. For if you're already living in Rathdrum and love it, this video isn't about you. You know why you picked it here. I live in Rathdrum. I love it here. Share this with the friend that's still deciding. If you want help figuring out which of these towns is going to be the best fit for your situation, hey, the link is in the description. Go ahead and download our free relocation guide. Send me a note, give me a call, shoot me a text. We'll tell you the truth. And that's the whole point of this channel. Would love to meet with you, chat with you about your goals. Drop me a comment. Tell me which one of 3 towns you pick, Rathdrum, Hayden, or Post Falls. And like I said, reach out. My team and I, we are never too busy for you. We want to help make your move to North Idaho a smooth transition. Hey, I read every comment. I'll respond. And thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week on the next video.